What's up, guys? Welcome to my very first debut episode of my poker vlog. This is episode 1. For this episode, we're playing at the Casino Matrix in San Jose, California. It's a very nice property. We're playing 1, 2, 3, which is basically 2-3 with a mandatory $1 straddle on the button. And so I'm excited to show you guys. Thank God we got a big win. Shout out to all my thousands and thousands of fans that are gonna watch this. But I've been trying to make it for a while. I was in Las Vegas last week, tried to film and was denied. So really big shout out to Casino Matrix for allowing me to do this. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's yet another perfect sunny day here in Northern California. For those that don't know, I just moved to the area for the summer. I've been absolutely loving the weather so far. It's put me in almost the perfect mood, and I say almost because it could definitely improve if I win big today. During my stay in Vegas this past weekend, I lost about $400 that I bought in for, which sucked. So I'm definitely trying to bounce back from that. I arrived at the property around 7:30, but there was a pretty long wait, which actually wasn't a problem because I got to watch the Celtics game and talk to my good friend Joseph Eversole about our frustrations through the Celtics loss. After about an hour, I get called for the game where I buy in for $200, which is $100 less than the max. Literally, we just sit down and the first hand that we look at is Ace-Jack offsuit. That's right, Matthew Snuggs. There's no other hand that the poker gods would have wanted me to have for my first ever vlog other than the infamous Ace-Jack. The under the gun player raises to $5 and the under the gun +1 calls. It's a pretty odd raise to make considering it wasn't a straddle, and I don't know why he would do it unless he was inducing a bluff from somebody like yours truly with some Broadway cards later on, or if he was just trying to build a pot for a hand like pocket threes or another small pocket pair. Either way, I see this as a chance to come out and set the tone right away with a hand that I know is a home run from previous experiences of getting stacked at German club poker nights. With that being said, I raised to $20. I expect to get called and sometimes even raised by the original aggressor and plan to call a reasonable raise. He has me covered, so if he does make a wild play, then we'll have to fold. However, that is not what happens. We actually get folds all the way around and are able to scoop a small pot of around $30. This hand actually isn't remotely important at all for the vlog. However, it was huge for my confidence to just sit down and immediately win just one. The next hand that I'm able to get involved in comes a few minutes later when I'm dealt pocket tens in the middle position. I raised to $15, and as you can see, the cutoff lets me know exactly what he thinks of that raise.
All in.
Yep, the opponent shoves it right in my face and goes all in, which is actually only about $40 more, and I really don't mind it that much. I figure if it folds around to me, we're probably flipping, and that I have a little bit more than 50% odds to win the pot at worst. The small blind folds, the big blind folds, but then it gets around to the under the gun player, and pay attention to this part because it's pretty important down the road. Since I'm in the one seat, I can't really get a good look at him, but he's thinking for quite a while to make what I presume to be either a call or shove all in. After about a minute of thinking, he makes the decision to just call, and then it folds around to me. This is an interesting position to be in, and I start thinking about what the players could have. I'm pretty sure I have the all-in guy beat, and I actually put him on a hand like Ace-Jack, or maybe even something less like King-Queen or King-Jack. His girlfriend is there with him, and he's been talking to her for a while about leaving. He's made some pretty wild plays with nothing already in the first 10 minutes that I've been there, and I just get the sense that he's just trying to make a quick double up or go out trying. As for the under the gun player, I'm a little bit more perplexed. Usually when a player, especially a good player, just calls in a situation like this, it's because he wants the other players to call behind because he's sitting on a monster like pocket kings or pocket aces. Another possible scenario, though, is that he generally didn't want to raise and has a hand like pocket eights, nines, or something else to play light. I don't think he'd do this with pocket queens or ace-king, but I still think he would with kings or aces. After about 2 minutes, I just decide that I'm dead to most overcards and that I don't want to get involved this early despite getting almost 3.5 to 1 odds on a call. In a game where my confidence was existent and I was riding high, I think I'd be a call and see what develops since it's heads up. A lot of players would call here, but in the words of Tony G, you either have the heart and commitment or you don't. I certainly don't want to announce all in just to get snap called by the opponent, and so I reluctantly fold. Another reason I don't want to get in is because either way, I'll still get free information as to what the players had, as you can see right now as the flop comes out.
Ace. Diamonds? Oh, no chop, no diamond.
We see that the player we were most worried about did in fact have pocket kings, and the original raiser had ace-queen offsuit. After going up to an ace early, the all-in player ends up chopping with the under-the-gun player to a flush showing on the board. After all that, I was pretty proud of the laydown that I made nonetheless, considering I put the player on a monster given that he had just called. We were lucky enough to get it away nonetheless, though. The next hand we get into comes a little while later when we're in the cutoff, and we look down and see, yep, pocket cowboys. I raised to $15, the button folds, and then it goes to the small blind. He's an interesting guy. You can see him here on the left talking on the phone actually, telling someone how he just recently converted to a new religion. I've never heard of it, but apparently in this religion the goal is to get rid of all material possessions, and that definitely does not exclude money. The story checks out as the guy takes the quickest way I can possibly think of to burn some big ones and raises to $50. The players all fold back to me, and I consider what to do with this newfound information that the guy hates money. There was only one real option that I had, and so I go for it and announce, I'm all in. We get it in for about $160 more with surely the best hand. And in reality, I intended this bet to come off as a bit polarizing in hopes that the opponent put me on a hand like jacks, tens, or maybe even a worse pocket pair. I actually think the opponent has a legitimate hand, and I put him on something like queens, jacks, ace-king, or God forbid aces. The dealer counts out my chips, and before she even says how much, the guy puts in a calling chip. I must admit, I did not love to see that, and I'm now rooting for pretty much anything but an ace to show, and hopefully avoid too many high cards. I take a deep breath as the dealer puts out the first three cards, which come ace, queen, queen. I'm not lying when I say my heart completely sank. It just absolutely fucking sucks to get it in with the best of it and have the opponent get his cards. After running terribly the last week, I was just hoping that we could avoid flops like this. I didn't want to have to buy back into this game with my confidence already shot, but from so many bad runouts, I pretty much have no choice. My only hope now is to hit runner and have the dealer put on a king to either boat up or jack 10 to make a straight. Instead, the dealer absolutely crushes my soul as she proceeds to place out the 7 of spades and the 9 of hearts. I literally think I'm going to throw up, but then I take a look at the opponent and I remember something. The guy absolutely hates money and shows that he called me with a pair of 6s. I take a huge sigh of relief and try not to get too excited as I take in a pot of about $330.
107.
When I saw that ace, I was like, I thought, no, that's it, we're going home.
107.
I'm telling you, I was like, yeah, it seems like the chance of getting an ace goes up
7.
1,000% when you have kings. It's almost guaranteed, yeah.
All right, so while commentating on this video, I've been reading through my notes just so I don't get sidetracked or anything, but with this, I don't need them. It feels so good to actually win a pot when you get it in with the best hand. For the last couple of weeks, it just has been so frustrating to lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars off of bad beats and opponents getting the cards that they need. I'm feeling great, and I'm not stopping. In fact, I'm feeling like Michael Jordan in his prime. And what was it that he said again? Wait for it. I'm back. All right, so reality sets in, and we lose a few small pots to take our stack down to around $300 and realize that maybe we're not Michael Jordan after all. However, that certainly won't stop us from trying to hit a three-peat. Check this out. In the first hand, we're dealt some snowmen in the middle position. I raise to $10, and the action folds around to the big blind who defends for $12 more. We're in position as the flop comes out, Jack 7-4 rainbow. The big blind checks, and we make a continuation bet of $15. It's likely we probably have the best hand, and we want to seem like we're trying to steal a pot. It doesn't matter though, as the opponent mucks his hand before my chips even hit the felt, one hand down. Immediately after, we're dealt king-jack offsuit and the under the gun +1. We raise again to $15, and as you can see, the opponents fold quicker than a bunch of lawn chairs right before Storm's about to hit the beach. We're able to take down our second hand in a row without any resistance, which isn't a whole lot of fun. I really want to make it 3 in a row, and I'm hoping to have a hand to do that with. There's a rumor I remember hearing that if you're a YouTube viewer of a poker blog and imagine any hand hard enough when asked to do so, it'll appear in my hands. All I ask is that you think of a hand good enough to give me the chance to go back to back to back. It could even be anything upwards of 8-9 suited. I'll take any Broadway cards, preferably suited though, but I'm not picky. I'll even get it all in with pocket jiggities just this one time. On the count of 3, all I ask is that you do your best, as my legacy is counting on you. Here we go. Think of your hand. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that'll do just fine. I knew I could count on you guys. Special shout out to Barrett Stuckey for this hand. I just know you were on the edge of your seat cheering me on to wake up with the Rockets, but I promise I won't play them like you and just call. LLS. Nope. With an image like ours, after raising and taking down the 2 previous hands, we slightly overbet to $20 to hopefully make someone think, man, I'm tired of this kid. How many times could he possibly have it? And do something stupid like call or even raise us. Well, Mr. Opponent, thanks to Barrett Stuckey and the rest of my fans, I do have it. We won't have to wait long to see who will become the newest citizen of Paynetown as the opponent right across from me calls my $20 raise. Little does he know that in Paynetown, I'm the judge, chief of police, and the mayor. That's right, Matthew Thomas. Mr. Opponent only has about $45 left, and I'm not really sure what he's trying to do by just calling. There's no reason to be scared, as if we have the world in our hands, and the flop comes 10-10-4 rainbow. I raised to $20. Despite just crossing the city limits though, Mr. Opponent decides he wants to find the quickest way to get into trouble and shoves all in for about $45 more. It's slightly concerning at first, but then again, it's a pretty weird line to take to not get it all in if you're going to call $20 pre-flop raise and then fold on a flop like this that won't connect well with my range, whatever he thinks that is. I don't have much of a choice though, as I'm getting about 5-1 odds on a call, and I toss in some calling chips. The opponent turns over King-Queen suited, and he's drawing dead to runner trips, straight, or flush draws. The turn comes the 7 of clubs, which gives us the absolute check mark and lets us guarantee a pot scoop of about $130 total. I'm absolutely loving life thanks to the hands I've been dealt. To be honest, I really haven't done anything special other than get lucky and have opponents shove when I have pretty much the best of it, but honestly, after I've been running lately, I'll never complain. Unfortunately, pretty soon after this, my phone dies, just as we're about to get into our last meaningful hand, but we still managed to catch a shot of the opponent. You can see her here on the right. She's actually waiting on the main $5-10 game and has a glass of wine next to her as she's chatting up the dealers and other players. From what I gather, she's pretty much a regular here at the casino, and despite acting pretty careless, she's a player who definitely knows what she's doing and isn't afraid to make big plays since it's a small table to her. Keep all this in mind as we go to the drawing board. Okay, so for this part, I'm pretty much just gonna have to wing it. I didn't take any notes during this, obviously, because my phone died, but all that I remember was I was second to act after the flop, and I raised to $15 with pocket tens. The lady that we just spoke about called another, and then the guy right behind her called. So we're 3 ways to the flop as it comes, 2-3-5 with 2 spades. The guy who called last is acting first, and he raises $15. I strongly consider raising, but decide just to call somewhat for deception and somewhat to see what the lady who called behind does. We put in our calling chips of $15, and the lady thinks for a little bit, and then she puts out calling chips along with 2 white chips. I haven't seen a white chip all night, and something tells me that they're not $10 chips. The guy behind her immediately folds, and it gets back to me as the dealer counts out the raise of $220. It actually takes me a few seconds to process the number that came out of his mouth, as I'm thinking, what the hell is going on, and what could she possibly have? My first instinct reaction was that she was on a draw of some sort, and that by raising so heavy after I just called, she thought that she could just steal it, and if I somehow had a made hand already, then she would still have outs even if I called. I'm still partially stunned, and I go back and forth thinking like this, and then think about the lady herself. She's sitting across from me having the most casual conversation you could possibly imagine with another guy at the table while sipping her wine, as I battle my darkest demons to figure out what she could possibly be doing this with. I'm trying to get a read on her, and a lot of times when players act really calm and collected, it's to show you that they're not scared of you calling, which in turn is supposed to make you want to fold. I've seen a lot of amateur players do the opposite as well and act really scared when they have a monster in order to try and give you the sense that they're weak and lead you into making a call. But I have absolutely no idea what to make of it either way, as this lady is pretty much about as odd as they come. She's still talking to the other player at the table, and I honestly genuinely wonder if she actually forgot I was at the table. I'm sitting here for about 4 minutes going back and forth on what to do. I'm trying to do the math in my head, and I know that any hand that I put her on is drawing at the very least to about 50% chance of winning with a chop. You can see here that assuming she has 1 over and 1 under of spades to my pocket tens, she has about a 45% chance to win, and because of how low the flop is, if she has an ace of spades and another spade, then she improves to a 53% favorite. Even if she doesn't have the ace but still has 2 overs like king jack of spades, then she almost has a 55% chance of scooping. Maybe she also got tricky and just limped with a higher pocket pair with plans to make a weird play like this if a low flop comes out. But in the end, I think for a little longer and I still have no idea where I'm at. I just think that in situations like these, when I call, I'm so often wrong, and I really don't want to throw away all of my winnings so far to a play like this where the lady somehow limped in and hit a straight. Patrick Gillian, you can sure attest to having hands like this that wrecked me in the past. After about 5 minutes or so of being in the tank though, I literally just can't make myself to bring the call, and I fold my hand face up and give the woman the nice hand pat on the table. The dealer scoops the pot to her, and as I'm still sitting there white as a ghost, the lady tells me that I made a good fold. I don't even know if anything came out of my mouth when I muttered thanks, but she started talking to me a little bit after that. So after a little while of talking to her, she basically told me that since she liked me, she would offer to tell me what she had in the hand. She said she did, in fact, have the nut straight, and since she was getting some decent odds and was bored while waiting for a main game, she called to see a flop with 4-6 of diamonds and made a straight. She was a nice lady, and we actually talked for a little while longer before I decided to wrap up, before getting put to another test like that where I had even better equity. So yeah, as you know, my phone died and I had no way to take a picture, but this really nice guy named Mahmood said that he would, and so I got these pics of me with $448 in front of me, and he sent them to me as I cashed out at the cashier for a profit of almost $250. Mahmood, you're a beast. Thanks for taking the pics. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. That's the end of my first poker vlog. A few things to say. The first one is, since it was my first one, I am sorry that I didn't get a lot of the runouts of the board and stuff after I flipped my hands on the all-ins and some other stuff. I'll definitely be better about that next time, but this was all new, so it was really fun to record though. Although I was playing pretty tight, I know that, like, I wasn't doing anything really special. It's just I've ran pretty poor these last couple weeks, and you know, I really wanted to book a win for the first time I ever recorded to make a vlog and share with, you know, my friends. That's why I'm doing this, just to share with my friends. It's something fun to do, which it was fun to do. Just as like a little word of advice, I know like a lot of people are starting to like turn 21, and if you're playing at casinos, I'm gonna give advice that I heard from my favorite player of all time, Phil Ivey. He said, never play with more than what you're comfortable losing. And it sounds really simple, but that's so true. You start not playing like yourself, and maybe that was me a little bit today, but moving forward, definitely excited to mix it up a little bit more and play a little loose. I know it's more exciting anyways. On that same note, the hands that I did play, it was really, really cool actually to go back and look through and see what I could have done better, because I could have done so many things better. I did some things right, but it was easy when you have kings and aces and tens and all these pocket pairs and stuff like that. But there were definitely hands that I also recorded that, you know, they weren't as big of pots, and I lost them, and I should have done this differently, but I'm looking forward to doing that. Special thanks to Casino Matrix. That's where I filmed this. They were really cool with letting me film for this project, and that was awesome. So special shout out to them. Now for the personal shout outs to all the guys that I play with at Virginia Tech. You guys are the main donors of this video, letting me play at these stakes, giving me all your money. Matthew Snuggs, Patrick Gillian, Andrew Vi, Brendan Spire, Aiden McFarlane. Thank you guys. The super donors, I can't forget you guys, the club soccer guys. Nick Meyer, Jacob Hurley, especially huge shout out Jacob Hurley, Robin Ehlers, and especially Nick Washington. Thanks for all the cash that you guys give me whenever we play. And Jack Carmody, you certainly aren't excluded from that either. I'm just kidding, kind of, not really, but seriously, playing poker with you guys is like some of the most fun nights that I have. So I'm making this video for you guys. And lastly, the most special shout out I can give to a guy that I wouldn't have even done this without is the main man, Mr. Brad Owen. If you guys want to see how a poker vlog is actually done and how a pro actually does it, check out Brad Owen's poker channel. Hopefully he sees this one day. That would be a dream. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully see you next time. Peace.